Welcome to Crown Level Confidence with Kalia Janae, the podcast where we empower and inspire you to achieve unstoppable confidence and self-belief. I'm your host, Kalia Janae, a wife, mom, entrepreneur, as well as a certified life coach and motivational speaker with a background in humanities and communication. I'm excited to navigate this transformative journey with you. In each episode, I'll bring you candid conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories from remarkable women who have conquered many challenges and risen to new heights. Get ready to have your crown straightened as we listen, learn, and laugh together so we can level up. Let's dive in. Hey, y'all. I'm so excited. Welcome to the newest episode of Crown Level Confidence podcast, where we are leading women worldwide to lower their stress and raise their level of confidence. Y'all, I'm so excited. I have with me, and again, we're audio only, which y'all know, we're a few episodes in already, but let me tell you, you can't see what I see in all of this amazing beauty in front of me. I cannot wait to share with you my new friend, Tayisha Beard. Tayisha, first of all, before I start telling them about you, why don't you say hey?
Hello, everyone. So glad to be here.
Yay, we're so happy to have you. Okay, y'all know I always get the scoop on our guests before we dive into our conversation. So let me help you get to know her a little bit better. I'm so excited to share. So her mission revolves around empowering executive women, that's us, to expand their equity going beyond just their salaries. It's so important. She's the founder of the Step Asset MultipliHER Framework. She specializes in aiding career-level women who face challenges in saving money rather than utilizing it to invest in income-generating assets. I'm sure my husband just perked up. She's also the author of The Executivepreneur, a distinguished senior leader with a Fortune 500 company and a seasoned real estate investor and coach. Her expertise has earned her recognition in Automotive News Magazine, and she has been featured as a guest on the Multifamily Movement Mastermind platform. Hailing from Gonzales, Louisiana, she is happily married to a wonderful husband and is a loving mother of 2 children. Aww. So amazing. I'm so grateful that you are spending some moments here with us as we continue the conversation around I'm only bringing you the best women here to have the conversation, right? The best deserves the best. So Tayisha, thank you so much again for being here. Let's dive in. So we got your bio, but tell us a little bit about you that we don't already know.
So I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm the youngest of 4 children. And just growing up, I saw my parents, working their 9 to 5s. My mom was on and off working because she had 4 children. She needed to be home with us most of the time. So I would say 50% of her adult life was spent working with us at home, making sure we got our homework done and all that stuff. And I watched my dad go to work every single day for 37 years before he retired. And he would be out at 2 a.m., leaving to drive to work and getting back at 5 and then redoing all this for all those years. And I watched him do this relentlessly every day, right? Just to make sure that we had food on the table. And as a young girl, I just watched him do that. And he instilled in us to work hard, put your head down, work as hard as you can to continue to move up. And I did that. And that has been it's made me very successful. However, I did figure out that there's a different way of doing it. And it didn't necessarily include working a 9 to 5 every day, kind of going through the process, just going through life existing, opposed to really living.
Yeah. Wow. You said he worked every day for 37 years. I haven't done anything every day for 37 years. That's amazing. And first of all, that kind of commitment to any particular career or working is not heard of as much anymore. Everyone's looking for the next thing to get rich right away, and they stop working altogether, or they don't have a plan to get rich and they just stop working altogether. Or I don't know if he was in a specific career field that entire time, but it's just you don't hear about that anymore. And so it kind of puts things into perspective, like, okay, wow, clearly your dad was very dedicated and he was committed, like you said, to taking care of his family at whatever the cost, right? So, my dad, I share often, I'm from a military family. So my dad served in the Navy for 20 years. So I understand, what that's like to grow up in a household and watch your father do everything he needed to do to take care of you. And it makes a huge impact. So I can share that with you. And wow. And kudos to you for taking those observations and doing something about it. So is that what you would say has fueled your passion about helping other women to leverage their corporate benefits and salaries to create wealth? Or how did we go from little Tayisha watching her dad to now Mrs. Tayisha, doing all of these things?
Yeah, so it really taught me that, you can work hard, but education's important as well. So I did go off after high school and went to college, finished college, and decided to start my career in banking. And that was great for a little while, but just like any college student, you get out of college thinking, okay, I've done my 4 years, now it's time to go make a 6-figure salary, and that didn't happen. I started off, that salary was way less than what I was expecting. Mm-hmm. So I changed careers and I started working in the automotive industry, which I'm still in that industry now, just in a different department. Mm-hmm. So I went from the retail side of actually selling cars at a car dealership to actually working with car dealers, buying other dealerships.
Wow.
And that's allowed me to have a lot of connections to multimillionaires, business owners, entrepreneurs, as well as working on corporate, the corporate America side. And I've been in corporate America now for 12 years and have had a great career, great success working with the company that I'm with right now. But something happened to me in 2019, which kind of shifted my mindset.
Oh.
And I woke up at 2 a.m. This was 2019, maybe fall 2019. And my heart was racing like crazy while I was sleeping, right? So it woke me up. Mm-hmm. And I immediately tell my husband, I think I'm having a heart attack. So we drop everything. My 2 young kids at the time were still sleeping. I call my mom, get her over to the house to watch the kids while my husband and I go to the ER. And they're running every test that they possibly can, EKGs, body scans, and they come up with nothing.
Wow.
And they send me home and said, take an aspirin. If you are having a heart attack, there's nothing we can do to stop it. So of course, I go back home, I'm crying because I don't know if I'm gonna fall asleep and not wake up the next day. So thankfully I did. I'm thinking it must have been a mistake. And I go to work like my normal day. And I get home and it happens again. But this time it was during the day, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I go back to the ER. And this time I'm telling the doctor, something's going on. This is my second time here in 24 hours. And I really need somebody to take a look at me. So they did keep me overnight. They had every specialist that you can think of in there, pulmonologist, cardiologist, running every test that they possibly can. And the next morning they tell me, we think we figured out what's wrong with you. I was having anxiety attacks.
Wow.
I have never experienced anything like that in my life to where it felt like I was having a heart attack. And I'm thinking that can't be accurate because it's just a panic attack. That should have nothing to do with how I felt. And little did I know that panic attacks can feel like a heart attack.
Mm-hmm. And you guys can't see her, and I'm sure if you don't already follow her, if you haven't already looked her up, I could see her. She's fit, okay? Like that blood is pumping, okay? So there's no reason for us to think that she has any health issues, okay? She drinks her water. She clearly is eating well, okay? So trust me, she's got it together. There was no reason for any of us to assume that there was a health issue. Wow.
No, it wasn't a health issue. It was stress.
Yeah.
And I was just overstressed, trying my best to do what my dad did. Work hard every day. Put your head down. Do what you got to do. If it takes 10 hours a day to get something done, you do it. If it takes 15 hours, you get it done. And that has gotten me far. But that could not take me to the next level in my life.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Yes. So that really shook me up, and I just started thinking if I would have passed away or not been able to go back to work, what would that have looked like for my family? And yes, I had a 401k. Yes, I had some money saved, but that can only last so long. So I really started thinking about what else is there? What's my purpose? What's my passion? And I've always had a love for real estate, and I've always had a love for financial literacy. So I really dove in to both of those. And I started investing in real estate, educating myself, with podcasts, right? With, lots of videos on YouTube, and just really getting a mentor and starting investing in myself on how I can become better as a person, better as a mother, better as a leader. And then it shifted from, okay, it's time to leave corporate America to you need to become an entrepreneur. And I battled with deciding which one to do. And finally, probably, I think it was in 2021, I decided that, I don't have to choose. I can do both. And I can do both with having my corporate job and using the large salary that I'm getting to finance my freedom. And I started taking that money opposed to doing the things that I thought would make me happy, like travel and spend way too much on name brand items, right? And doing all these things that I was just spending money opposed to circulating money.
Wow.
And so I decided to take all that and start investing it. And one of my biggest accomplishments is having a real estate portfolio that I can leave to my children, that when I'm not even here anymore and I transition, to the afterlife, then I have something my kids can have for generations to come.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, it's no secret here. I'm hosting the podcast. I'm a mindset coach and a life coach. And so when I hear you give us these accounts, I'm listening and I'm hearing so many different themes, right? I'm hearing the fact that you have this very serious wake-up call. We were joking and laughing earlier, but it's a very serious wake-up call as to how you were living your life. But you didn't let that stop you or discourage you or say, to shut everything down, or you didn't allow fear, right, to overtake you. You used it as a learning moment, right? You recognized it for what it was. And, we'll never know exactly how much time went by or when the light bulb exactly, went off. But I can say that it's worth mentioning and worth celebrating, because a lot of people, they get stuck there. Oh, I have an affliction. I'm wounded. Something's wrong. And now you just shut everything down. No, you said, let me reevaluate, right? And that takes confidence, right? That's what we talk about in the show the most, is how you're able to take what has happened to you, what you're going through, right? Allow it to grow you, allow it to show you what you need to do to change, right? And then move that forward. So, it's easy to kind of skip over. You seem like a naturally confident person. So you're like, yeah, it's part of it, just needed to happen. but I take the time to really unpack that, because there are people listening who that light bulb doesn't automatically come on for them. And that's no fault of their own. They're just not used to building that muscle, right? Yeah. Mentally or emotionally, to make that change. And so I was listening to you, and you had several points of pivot. And among those transitions, you were able to find ways to still serve your family, right? Because as women, that's what we're going to do. We're always thinking about others, right? You had this serious personal wake-up call, right? And then you still said, because you're a mom, right? And you're a wife, and that's how we're built, like intrinsically. You're like, okay, well, I've got to change, not just for me because this was scary for me, but because I've got children to think about. I've got a legacy to leave. I've got, your husband. It's this whole dynamic of, it's not just me, right? So I'm grateful, because now I get to know you. You're part of my network here. You're part of the Crown Level Confidence family. And people need to hear these things. They need to be said out loud. They need to be shared. Having experienced a panic attack is not anything to be ashamed of. And I'm so glad that you choose to incorporate that in your story of your journey, because a lot of people, they skip over any kind of mental, emotional, I wouldn't even say struggle, challenge, right? Or encounter. Exactly. Because it seemed as this, or it's labeled that. Well, it's only that way because we allow it to be, right? I'm very transparent about different challenges I've had with my mental health and navigating severe anxiety and depression disorder. Not letting those things define me, but being aware, right? Because you can't you can't address what you won't assess. Like you just can't do anything about it if you just decide to overlook it. So that's what's always part of the conversation. So thank you for that. Again, I can't thank you enough. But also, you talked about a love for investing. You talked about being, your real estate portfolio. And those are really big topics that generate wealth that women really aren't talking about, not as much as they should, and not really in those conversations. So for those who are curious, when is it a good time, air quotes, good time for women to start investing?
Yesterday. Like seriously,
get on it.
Like there's never the right time. You just have to start. We're always thinking about how much money we need to start or how much debt we're going to get in. One of the things I talk about in my book, the Executivepreneur, is good debt versus bad debt. If you're getting into debt to shop or to travel or to furnish your house, whatever, right? That's bad debt because there's no return on that. But if you're using your debt or taking debt and using it on something that's going to give you a positive return, meaning real estate, meaning starting a business, right? Then it's worth it. But so many people are afraid of debt, and we talk about being debt free, but that's bad debt free. Good debt is okay, especially if you're getting an investment on it. I even say if you're going to school to get an education and you're not going to do anything with it, that's bad debt.
Yeah, it's not a good decision.
On that. So you have got to get something out of whatever you're investing in. And I think that's important for people to know. And look, women, since COVID, 53% of women have experienced some type of burnout at work. And I think it's partially because they're so focused on the job and getting the job done and the next promotion and climbing the corporate ladder, which all those things are fantastic. And I've done it myself, but I think you have to pause for a minute and say, what's important to me? What's priority? I'm going to work as hard as I can during this time or when it's needed, but there is going to be a period of time where I'm going to have self-care, where I'm going to be present with my family, where I'm going to take time to work on things that make me happy, meaning your business, becoming an entrepreneur, coaching, whatever it is that you're going to spend that time. And I think then when you find that balance, which is never a formula you'll figure out, you continuously every day have to pivot. But once you figure that out, then it's easier to manage everything.
And that's what it's about too. So, what I'm hearing, you're very expert at advice, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I always translate what everybody says. What I'm hearing is you have to have the right mindset going about this, right? And a lot of times the mindset we have naturally, we're hardworking women. We're going to excel, right? We've been raised, look, you've got the woman tax, you've got the woman of color, you've got the of color tax, you've got to work twice as hard to get half as far. We're going to go above and beyond the call of duty, right? We're going to bring our excellence. We're going to shine. We're going to shut everybody down, but at the expense of ourselves, right? And so it's that attitude of excellence without the self-care, that you mentioned, that does cause that burnout. So allowing yourself to have the right mindset to say, yes, I can operate in excellence. And what does that look like, right? It means I have to bring my best. Well, let's work backwards from there. How do I stay at my best? Right.
That's right.
And that means I have to leave. You have to, if you're in a salaried position, just go ahead and clock out when your shift is over. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
If you're not in an hourly position, you're in a salaried position. Okay, well, you need to know there's always going to be something on that to-do list.
Always.
Don't hold yourself hostage in the office. You're trying to make it through that whole list. You have to figure out how to prioritize what needs to happen today. Right? Yeah. What are the most important things today? What are the deadlines? Communicate with others. We could talk about, this all day long, but it really just comes down to having the right expectations.
Right.
And I'm sure that's probably something you addressed in your book, The Executivepreneur. Can you tell us more about your book and how you kind of outline these ideals, for us to learn?
Yes. So I just released a book in August of this year, and I kid you not, when it was released, everything in me wanted to just pull it back off the shelf because I was vulnerable, right?
You're out there.
yeah, you're out there, your thoughts, feelings, everything is out there for the world to see, right? And I just finally said, if one person gets the book and gets something out of it and it changes their life, then I did my job. I did my part. I think we all have a book inside of us. We just have to get it out there.
I know you're speaking.
Yeah. But the Executivepreneur talks about several things. It does talk about taking care of yourself first, because you are the number one asset. You know, we want to go buy assets. We want to do this. If you don't take care of yourself, then all the other assets are irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So that's the first chapter in the book, is talking about self-care. Then I get into the mindset, right? You can want the biggest real estate portfolio. You can want the best job, the best family and kids. But if you don't change your mindset, then you're not going to be your best to give your best to get the best.
Wait. Say that one more time.
You're not going to be your best to give your best to get the best.
Wow. I'm not going to have her say it a third time. But if you need to hit pause and rewind until you really let that sink in, then you need to do that, because that is a whole game changer right there. Okay, keep going. But I just wanted to make sure that was deep. You were ready to keep going, but I'm like, wait, they need to get this. Okay, keep going.
So another part of the book, because we are career women, executive women, then I talk about how to maximize your corporate benefits. Think about it. When we go to work every day, we have health insurance, we have 401k, we have 529 plans that a lot of people don't even know what's available to them. They go to work, they know about the insurance, they know about 401k, but there's so many other corporate benefits that are available to you that we're not taking advantage of. You know, things like a company vehicle, things like discount on your car insurance and home insurance. There's a 529 plan that a lot of companies give to their employees, and without having to do anything in addition to what you're already doing, they're giving this to you. They're not going to knock on your office door and say, "Are you signed up for this program?" They're not going to do that, right? So you have to know what's available to you. So in the book, after every chapter, I have what you can do now, things that you can do now to go back and totally maximize that chapter. And when I'm talking about maximizing your corporate benefits, it gives you a list of things that you can do to go back to your HR department and say, hey, do we have this? If so, go ahead and sign yourself up for it. Especially if there's no additional cost to you.
Yeah. And you have to have the information, right? You got to be able to have the information so you can make a decision, right? And we talk about this all the time, that confidence, is built from the success after, several decisions. But you can't start with anything if you're just in the dark. So you've got to open your eyes, right? You've got to do your research and get some education as to what's available to you. I'm just reiterating. I'm reiterating, but it's true. I feel like it can't be said enough. It's this principle when people say, oh, ignorance is bliss. It's really not. It's costing you. And right now it's to your detriment monetarily. If nothing else matters, I'm sure your pocketbook does. Right? Yeah. So we need to wake up and see, you're at this job or you have this career, you should be maximizing it. And I feel like that is the point here. We're trying to help you, take advantage of all of these benefits that are available.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier about when's the right time to invest. Most women, I'll stick with women since we're talking about women, is they don't think they have enough money. They don't think they have the finances to invest. Well, what if you're leaving just with your corporate benefits another $500 to $1,000 a month on the table? That could be your investment capital right there. And so I think it's important to know, like you said, what's available to you right now without doing anything else, maximizing that before you move on to the next thing. And so a lot of that is talked about in the book. And the 4-step asset multiplier, I actually created this framework because I think most of the time executive level women think, that we're at the bottom because we're not entrepreneurs. We're not at the bottom. If you've manifested this level of success, you are so far ahead of the game than most people, not only just women. But there are additional steps. And the second step is the Executivepreneur, which is what the book is written about. And that's where you're an actual executive or career level woman, but also starting to create ownership and equity for yourself, meaning starting your business on the side, starting to invest in other businesses, which we don't even think about, right? We think we got to start our own. How about investing in a small business yourself and not being a partner, like a partner that operates every day, but just being a limited partner and being able to get equity out of that company.
Yeah. I see all of the time when I'm doing research for my own company or applying to different grants, they'll say, oh, apply for this fund in exchange for X% of equity. These things exist, y'all. She's telling the truth here. And I love that you have these categories, and I love the level of people that you're speaking to, because obviously this show is called Crown Level Confidence. And to me, my philosophy here as your favorite mindset coach is there are different levels and categories to confidence. Especially as women, we position ourselves and we have to take on so many different roles, right? We have so many different responsibilities and different things that we do throughout the day. Men do too, but listen, it's us here. My point is, you can have a different level of confidence in every single category of your life all at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're at work, right, you're in the boardroom, you're doing X, Y, and Z, you're like crown level. Yes, I got this. I'm at the top of my game. I know all the reports in and out. Boom, this is our plan. This is our thing. And then you go home, maybe? And you're like, oh, you want me to do something with all the money I made? And my financial confidence is very low. That's pawn level confidence. Right? It's not as regal as when I was at work making the money. And so I giggle, I laugh, I joke, but it's these principles, they do apply. And so that's why, Tayisha, I'm so thankful that you are here with us, because the show is here to speak to all of these different kinds of women, because there's so many different types of categories. And you've touched on so many just in our short conversation here. Your decision-making process as a mom, right? Like I heard you say you immediately called your mom to make sure someone could be there with your kids so your husband could support you at the ER. Like you didn't really unpack that much, but that's huge, right? Yeah. You had the presence of mind to execute that function. Or some people might be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna go back to sleep. It's true. Again, I'm laughing, but these are real situations. Or, adding in your additional income, right? Which by some people's standards, you probably don't technically need it, right? And we're not in your household budget, but that's not the point. The point is it takes different parts of you to do all of these different things. I'm just acknowledging what I'm listening and what I'm learning from you. And hopefully our listeners are picking up on all of these different things too, because that's the purpose of this show, right? So have these real conversations from professionals or someone who's a master in their industry to say, hey, this is my expertise. This is how I want to enhance and enrich your life. If you would take the 20 minutes to listen to this conversation and apply some of these principles to your life for your betterment and to raise your confidence level in whatever category that reaches to you the most during this conversation. So thank you. Yeah. And I'm highly interested in this book. So I know our listeners are highly interested in this book. Can you let everyone know where they can find it, how it's available, how do we get it? Because we need it like yesterday.
So right now it is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So you can go to Amazon and search my name, Tayisha Beard, and you can find the book there via Kindle or the paperback, as well as Barnes & Noble. You can search the Executivepreneur and find it there. If you want to go to my website that talks a little bit more about who I am and what I do, you can go to the executivepreneur.net. executivepreneur.com, and you can get more details from the website. And then you can also order the book from the website.
Awesome. And y'all know I'm going to have all of her clickables available in the podcast episode description. So don't worry if you didn't catch what she said. You don't have to pause and rewind. I'm going to have it ready for you to click to scroll down. Tayisha, you have been amazing. And is it safe to assume that people can find out about your online courses and programs on your website?
Yeah, so if they go to theassetmultipliher.com, they can find out more information about the programs and the online course that has 45 modules.
Wow. She's going to get you right, but you better take the time to really take it seriously. Don't sign up and not do it and then be mad, okay? So you got to know yourself, right? You better set the time aside weekly or however often you're going to do it, a little bit each day. You do something, but don't start it and then be mad if you don't finish it. Don't go emailing her for your money back. We don't do that here. Tayisha, wow. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our time here. It always goes by so fast. We have a section of the podcast, which you may be familiar. It's called The Final Word. So we've covered so many different aspects of your life and your expertise and what you wanted to share. But right now, these are the final words that you want our listeners to know from you. It could be something we already talked about that you want to reiterate, or it could just be something new that's on your heart right now that's like, hey, girl, listen. You need, or blah, 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 before she gets out the car to get back into work. What do you want to share?
So I want to share whatever is in your heart, whatever that burning desire is in your spirit. That is God calling you to do something greater than what you're doing right now. And I pray and I encourage you to accept that call and go for it full force and never give up. Even when it gets tough, believe me, on the other side of that is success, is your purpose, is your destiny, is your legacy, and I want you to go for it.
Wow. All right, y'all. Well, you heard, she shut it down. Tayisha Beard, everybody. Tayisha, thank you. Again, I probably said it like, 5,000 times. I can't say it enough. Thank you so much for gracing us, having this conversation with us. You could be doing any number of other things right now to invest in yourself or pour into others, but you chose to share your knowledge and information and your beautiful spirit with us. And I cannot thank you enough for your time. Y'all, you have all the ways to connect with her for more information. Pop into our Facebook group, Crown Level Confidence Podcast, between the episodes. If you want to ask, questions or just say what you got out of this, I'm sure she would love to hear what your favorite aspect of the conversation was. If you choose to reach out to her and let her know that you heard her speak on the podcast, just be polite and professional, like I know you will, okay? Represent accordingly. We're not about foolishness, and we're not about, anything that will misrepresent ourselves or each other in the wrong way. So again, this has been this episode of Crown Level Confidence featuring Tayisha Beard, y'all. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for some announcements and have a great day. Thank you for tuning into another empowering episode of Crown Level Confidence with Kalia Janae. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found it both insightful and inspiring. If you'd like to be a featured guest on the show and share your journey of confidence and self-belief, please reach out to me at podcast@kaliajanae.com. I'm always eager to connect with remarkable individuals who have a story to tell. And for those interested in connecting with me for speaking engagements or mindset coaching, you can find more information on my website, kaliajanae.com. I'd love to hear from you and explore how we can work together to inspire and empower others. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode filled with actionable tips and heartfelt stories. If you enjoyed today's episode, I truly appreciate it if you could leave a review on your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and inspire even more people to straighten their crowns. Remember, your journey to unstoppable confidence is a continuous adventure. I'm happy to support you every step of the way. Keep believing in yourself, keep shining, and always wear your crown with pride. Until next time, this is Kalia Janae, your host, signing off. Stay confident, stay empowered, and keep leveling up.